The Liberty had their looks down this stretch, just couldn't quite convert it.
To be perfect. What Natasha Cloud told me is necessary to beat a great team on the road. You have to be nearly perfect. And that was the look they had to change the game.
The New York Liberty are up by 4. Sabrina Ionescu gets the ball, pulls up from deep, and drains a three-pointer with 33.8 seconds left that extends their lead to 7 and has fans calling it straight water and comparing it to one of Steph's Olympic shots. That shot didn't just seal a victory last night. It could have a real impact on how the playoff race plays out. See, what you probably don't realize is that we're in the middle of a really tight WNBA playoff race. 7 teams fighting for 3 playoff spots, the defending champions missing their finals MVP, the league's best team missing their MVP candidate, and every single game over these next 3 weeks could determine who gets to call themselves champions. That Liberty victory over the Minnesota Lynx, fans immediately started calling it playoff level basketball and elite gameplay. But here's what makes it even more impressive. Both teams were missing their superstars. Napheesa Collier, the MVP frontrunner, was out with an ankle injury. Breanna Stewart, the finals MVP, was sitting in street clothes with a knee issue. 2 championship contenders missing their best players, still putting on a show that had basketball fans glued to their seats. Want to know how tight this playoff race is? Just 3 games separate the 6th place Indiana Fever from the 10th place Washington Mystics. With 8 teams making the playoffs, the top 6 look pretty secure, but 4 teams are fighting for just 2 remaining playoff spots. Every night, someone's championship hopes get crushed while another team's dreams come back to life. But before we break down last night's big game and what it means for these final 3 weeks, you need to understand how we got to this point.
Outside extra pass. Cloud kept the pivot. Fires. Won't go. Long rebound. Snagged by Ionescu.
What's happening right now isn't just about one game or one trade deadline. It's the result of a really unpredictable season. So stick with me because we're about to dive into this tight playoff race. By the end of this video, you'll understand why these next 3 weeks might determine the next dynasty in women's basketball. Let me break down where we stand right now because it's pretty wild. At the top, you have the Minnesota Lynx sitting with what should be a comfortable lead. They're 28-6. They became the first team to clinch a playoff berth, and they didn't even have to play that night. The Indiana Fever lost to Dallas, which did it for them.
Coach Stephanie White in a late timeout say we need to grow right here. Where is this team still trying to grow, and how did you do it today?
New York is the standard. Vegas is the standard. Those best of the best teams are the standard, and that's what we want to be. We know being a playoff run, we got to beat the best and be competing with the best at every standard. And so for us, we knew to take it up a notch defensively.
The Lynx hold a 6-game lead over the second place teams. On paper, they look strong. They have the league's best defense, allowing just 75.4 points per game with a defensive rating of 95.1. But here's the problem. This Lynx team just lost their most important player, Napheesa Collier, to an ankle injury. She's missed 4 straight games and counting. This is the woman averaging 23.5 points and 7.5 rebounds per game. The legitimate MVP candidate who was supposed to lead them to their 5th WNBA title. Behind them, it's getting really competitive. The New York Liberty and Atlanta Dream are both sitting at 22-13, tied for the 2nd seed. The Liberty have been on a roller coaster all season. They opened with a 9-game winning streak, then had 5 losses in June, bounced back with 5 straight wins in July, then lost back-to-back games to end the month.
About that bucket, it was a huge one that you hit there and got the foul. Tell me about it. How did you feel fired up after that one?
Night-night.
They're missing Breanna Stewart, their finals MVP, with a bone bruise in her knee. Every game feels crucial now. The Atlanta Dream, they're the story nobody saw coming. They've won 6 of their last 8 games, and here's something impressive. They beat the Lynx at home, giving Minnesota their first home loss of the season. Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray are playing great basketball, and with Brittany Griner now on the team after leaving Phoenix, this Dream Squad is looking like a real championship contender. The Phoenix Mercury are sitting in 4th at 21-13, just one game back from the 2nd place tie, but they've been hard to figure out all season. They got Alyssa Thomas, who just became the first WNBA player ever to record 3 straight triple-doubles, and Satu Sabali in what looked like a championship move, but they went through a stretch where they were 3-5 in 8 games, only beating teams with losing records. They're healthy now and playing better, but the question is, can they really compete for a title? Now we get to the middle pack, and this is where things get really interesting.
Basketball. Fakes the pass, takes the shot. Reese offensive rebound, and she's fouled. These will be the first free throws. It's heated down there. Players are separated.
This was Courtney Williams, I think, was talking to Angel Reese.
The Las Vegas Aces at 22-14 are sitting in 5th place, who everyone expected to dominate, have been up and down. They just had the 2nd largest loss in WNBA history, losing to Minnesota by 53 points, but somehow they've won 6 of their last 7 games and are firmly in playoff position. The Indiana Fever at 19-16, despite losing Sophie Cunningham for the season, with a torn MCL making her the 3rd guard they've lost this year, are in 6th place and looking good for a playoff spot. The Golden State Valkyries, like remember, they're an expansion team, are 18-17 in 7th place and on track to have a really strong first season by a WNBA expansion team. They're making history while fighting for a playoff spot. The Seattle Storm made the biggest move at the trade deadline, adding All-Star Brittany Sykes to give them 4 2025 All-Stars, more than any other team. But they're 18-18 and sitting in 8th place, right on the playoff bubble. The Los Angeles Sparks at 16-18 started 6-14 in their first 20 games and looked finished. Then something clicked. They've gone 6-1 in their last 7 games, and now they're in 9th place, just 2 games out of a playoff spot. Even the Washington Mystics at 16-19 in 10th place have won 2 of their last 3 games. They're just 3 games away from the 8th playoff spot. This was the setup for last night's game between Minnesota and New York.
This is a do or die. I get really nervous for every game, so this is not different. I was up at 6 a.m. staring at the ceiling, just wanting it to be 7 o'clock.
Brianna Stewart also had an early wake-up call. How did you sleep?
Yeah, we were talking about it. I didn't sleep that great either. I was up early also, but that's because of my kids.
2 teams that met in last year's finals, 2 teams that everyone expects to meet again, 2 teams carrying championship expectations despite missing their best players. The bottom 3 teams, Dallas Wings at 9-26, Chicago Sky at 8-26, and Connecticut Sun at 7-27, are clearly out of playoff contention and playing for next season. And this game delivered everything you could want. Sabrina Ionescu was the star in clutch time. She struggled most of the game, shooting just 5-18 from the field, but when it mattered most, with 33.8 seconds left and the Liberty already ahead, she hit what fans are calling straight water, a 3-pointer that sealed the victory for the Liberty. One fan compared it to one of Steph Olympic shots, and honestly, that's not an exaggeration. The timing, the pressure, everything about that shot was pure basketball skill. But it wasn't just Ionescu. Courtney Williams was getting praise for her beautiful mid-range shooting motion and being quick as lightning. Fans were calling her a mid-range assassin, and when you watch the highlights, you see why. So her game is so smooth that even casual fans were taking notice. The fan reactions afterward show you the stakes of this game. Liberty fans were talking about repeat and dynasty and three-peat. Lynx fans were pushing back with one saying, "The Liberty didn't beat the Lynx beat themselves this game." The passion and intensity from both fan bases shows this is championship level basketball. But here's what makes this even more impressive. As one fan pointed out, Collier and Stewart in street clothes, and yet these 2 teams are still better than almost any other team in the league. Think about that. Both teams were missing their best players, and they still put on a show that had people calling it elite playoff level basketball.
To officially announce that the WNBA is expanding from our currently announced 15 teams to 18 teams over the next few years. So on behalf of the entire WNBA, I'm thrilled to welcome Cleveland and Detroit back.
This is the depth and talent that separates these top 4 teams the Lynx, Liberty, Dream, and Aces from everyone else. As another fan noted, only the Aces and Dream are close to these two teams. These top 4 teams have size and depth. So where does this leave us with just 3 weeks left in the regular season? That Liberty victory was huge for their confidence in playoff positioning. They're tied with Atlanta at 22-13 for the 2nd seed, with Phoenix just 1 game back, and with Breanna Stewart trying to return by the end of the month, they're positioned to make a strong run. As one hopeful Liberty fan put it, finally playing like we know they can. Man, just wait until Stewie, Harrison, and Sabali are back. The Lynx are still in control for the number 1 seed with that 6-game lead. The question is, can they keep it without Collier? They've won 3 straight games without her, including beating the Liberty just days before last night's loss. But these final weeks are going to test their depth. The Liberty and Lynx are set for 2 more games against each other. That's right. They play each other 3 times in a row because of a scheduling quirk. That's unusual in modern WNBA history, and it's going to basically decide the final playoff seeding between these 2 championship contenders. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Dream are sitting there at 22-13, tied with the Liberty for 2nd, watching this play out and knowing they control their own destiny. They're the hottest team in the league right now. They've already proven they can beat the Lynx on the road, and they're getting healthier at the right time. The middle pack, that's where the real drama is going to happen. With the top 6 teams looking pretty secure for playoffs, 4 teams are fighting for those final 2 playoff spots. The Aces have already locked up 5th place and have momentum after their recent wins. The Fever look good in 6th. But positions 7 through 10, the Valkyries, Storm, Sparks, and Mystics, are separated by just 3 games, making every game crucial. The injury factor is going to play a big role in these final weeks. Sophie Cunningham's season-ending injury leaves the Fever even more short-handed. Liu Aru's ACL injury ends the Wings season. When Collier and Stewart return, could literally determine who wins the championship.
Ruby came in the room wanting to watch Paw Patrol, so
We're not going to just walk in and win a game because we're up 1.
But what's really interesting about all of this, the WNBA has never been this deep, competitive, or unpredictable. We're seeing expansion teams setting records, veteran teams finding new life, and superstars rising to big occasions. The playoff format changes this year make everything even more intense. For the first time ever, the finals will be best of 7, meaning we could see a longer championship series than usual. The first round stays best of 3, which means upsets are definitely possible, and the semifinals expand to best of 5, giving us more of these great matchups we just saw. What we're watching right now isn't just a playoff race, it's women's basketball continuing to evolve. The talent level, the competitiveness, the drama of every single game is reaching new heights that are getting even casual sports fans to pay attention. These next 3 weeks are going to determine not just this year's champion, but potentially the next dynasty in women's basketball. Will the Lynx complete their championship quest and establish themselves as the new standard? Can the Liberty repeat and prove themselves as the team to beat for years to come? Will the Dream or Mercury crash the party and show that building a super team is the new way to win? Every game matters, every quarter matters, every possession could be the difference between championship glory and an early offseason. So here's what you should do. If you're not already following the WNBA closely, these final 3 weeks are your chance to jump in with some really compelling storylines in professional sports. Set your reminders for those back-to-back-to-back Liberty Lynx games. Watch for Breanna Stewart's return. See if Napheesa Collier can get healthy in time to lead the Lynx's championship push. Hit that subscribe button because we're going to be covering every twist, every turn, every clutch shot like Sabrina's game winner last night. That's going to determine this championship. Ring that notification bell because in a playoff race this tight, news breaks every day that could completely change things. And drop a comment below telling me, who do you think makes it through this tough stretch and gets to the finals? Are you supporting the Lynx trying to complete their championship run? The Liberty looking for back-to-back titles, or are you riding with one of these dark horses ready to surprise everyone? Because what happens in the next 3 weeks is going to be talked about for a while. This is your front row seat to some great WNBA basketball happening right now. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss what comes next.